back to the Royal Cyber podcast, where we dissect the hardest technology problems facing the enterprise today. For years, the integration of core SAP systems with the modern uh, cloud architecture was seen as a complex, uh, custom coded task, often taking months. But the game has fundamentally changed. So, today we are diving deep into the power of abstraction and security with API management. With me, it is Subhasis, and we will be discussing about SAP and APG power of API integration. So, welcome, Subhasis.
Hello, Mohsen. Yeah, it's great to be here. Good day. Yes, the challenge of unlocking SAP's core business logic and data for external consumption is something every enterprise faces. I mean, it's day in and day out. So I'm excited to discuss how Apigee provides that crucial abstraction, not at only the security layer, but also on the transformation side, making our SAP systems flexible, fast, and ready for the digital economy.
Yes, so let's get started. APG is the API management layer, and we know that. So, how does APG's core role in the SAP landscape fundamentally differ from classic SAP integration methods like IDoc, or RFC or SAP PIPO?
Yes, I mean, when we talk about SAP, I mean, IDoc be it the intermediate document or RFC be it remote function call. Basically, SAP integration methods like IDoc and RFC, these are core technologies used for data exchange. Whereas we talk about the SAP PIPO is the middleware platform that uses these methods and other methods to facilitate this kind of integration. So coming to Apigee, as you know, Apigee acts as the API management and mediation layer that front-ends SAP systems. So instead of relying on middleware SAP like PIPO or building any custom point-to-point connections for each and every consumer, Apigee exposes standardized REST or JSON APIs. So this provides single and a consistent contract for consumers. The security is centralized, policy enforcement and versioning is customized. So this fundamentally decouples the clients from specific SAP implementation details, enabling faster governed digital channels and faster transformation and faster processing.
Yeah, so let's look inside SAP. What is the fundamental difference between an OData service and an BAPI, which is known as Business Application Programming Interface, in the context of external API consumption?
Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about, I mean, both these SAP functionality, be it the OData or Open Data Protocol and RFC, so both of these expose SAP functionalities, but they serve different purposes. For example, if we talk about the OData or the Open Data Protocol, so here OData is modern. I mean, it is pretty much open. It is a REST-based protocol. Whereas coming to RFC, BAPIs are based on the RFC protocol, and it is used for a SAP to SAP integration, while OData is used to connect to any third-party systems. So BAPIs or the business APIs are legacy functional modules designed to execute a specific business transaction, be it any, let's say, create a sales order or check off any inventory. Whereas coming to OData, and since it is modern and RESTful protocol, so it uses a standard CRUD operations. CRUD in the sense the create, read, update, delete, these kind of operations. So it acts on all these SAP business entities like a list of customers or products. So in Apigee, we use both these, I mean, OData and the RFC protocols and treat this as a backend source. So in this way, we are able to connect both.
Okay, great. I see. SAP has historically been described as tightly coupled, right?
Yeah.
So how have the new APG SAP connectors fundamentally changed the integration paradigm for accessing the protocols like BAPI and RFC, making them easy and versatile?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. I mean, since the advent of these connected, it has been pretty easy to connect. Otherwise, traditionally, it has been a upheaval task to connect any of the SAP systems. So the key is the shift from custom point-to-point connections to pre-built managed connectors. So this using the Apigee SAP ERP connectors, it handles the underlying complexity of all these protocols, like as you spoke about the RFC or the BAPI for that instance. This means we do not have to write any custom code for each and every BAPI call or manage the intricate connection logic for that. What we need to do is just simply configure the Apigee connector, which gives us the foundation to surface all these SAP functions as modern and crowd-friendly APIs, which can be exposed and invoked by anyone in the internet.
Okay, so let's drill into the available tools.
Okay.
Which specific APG integration connectors are relevant for SAP, and what critical complexities like session management, or we can say protocol translation or SAP logon, do they abstract for us?
Yes, they do. I mean, the key connectors are the SAP ERP connectors, the BAPI connectors, the RFC connectors. These simplify invoking RFCs or BAPIs by handling the sessions, the SAP logon, and the data format. We also use something called the OData gateway connector or the SAP gateway connector for direct consumption of the modern SAP for HANA OData services. So these connectors, what they basically do is the hide complexities like the authentication and the session management, allowing Apigee policies to directly operate as a normalized and understandable payloads. So instead of going deep into its intricate logic and details, so Apigee kind of abstracts all this and provides a very normal platform to operate just like others.
All right. When exposing a complex BAPI or OData service to a new application, I want to know well, how does APG act as a wrapper to actually transform the complex SAP response into a simple modern REST API payload?
Okay, so now we talked about connecting to those systems. Now, capturing the response from those backends. So we have multiple such attributes on Apigee. Basically, as you know, Apigee is the mediation layer. It uses policies like JSON to XML and XSLT for BAPI calls, and also JavaScript and assign message for the OData. For example, BAPI might return nested XML or tables with any cryptic field names. But what Apigee basically does, it intercepts policies to simplify the data structure and rename the fields and return a clean, lightweight JSON object to the client, which is easily understood by them.
Okay, so building on that, I want to know how does APG handle the aggregation of multiple SAP calls to fulfill a single simplified API request from a consumer?
Yes, I mean handling multiple tab calls is a definite industry concern. So this is where Apigee actually adds a major value add to that. So what we usually do, we use the service callout policy within the API flow. A single client request might trigger multiple trigger multiple Apigee flows to trigger different or separate SAP BAPIs simultaneously. So concurrently, all three calls can be called with three different endpoints. So in this way, Apigee aggregates the responses from all these SAP calls, mixes them, matches them, and returns them as a single consolidated JSON payload. So in this way, the consumer orchestration and the consumer application form and the complex orchestration logic, all these are completely abstracted and easily handled.
Yeah, so in a hybrid landscape where data might be split across ECC and SAP for HANA, um, can APG apply conditional logic to an API request?
In context of.
For instance, routing a read
Mhm.
request for new
Okay.
consumers to SAP for HANA, but routing legacy requests to ECC.
Okay, yeah, yeah, absolutely. So this highlight actually this is what this highlights the power of the mediation layer. Apigee policies can inspect the incoming request, whether it's from the header, it's from the query parameter, the form parameter. So based on that, once I mean it's identified, based on that, Apigee you can use any target endpoint configuration, or even have different Apigee API proxies for that matter, to route these requests conditionally. So this allows us to run parallel systems during a migration to maintain, a split data landscape, or without the consumer application ever knowing that SAP system holds the data. So in this way, it is handled pretty easily.
When we expose core SAP systems, performance and stability are paramount. And how does APG help manage potential overload on SAP systems?
Okay, I mean, are you talking about the features in this case?
Yes, of course, specifically through features like caching,
Okay.
rate limiting, or spike
Spiker.
arrest.
Yes, yes, yeah. Apigee does has all these features like caching, rate limiting, or spikers. So what Apigee basically does is it acts as a shield. So if we talk about the caching, the response cache policy intercepts all this redundant read request, or and before they even reach to the SAP. So, for example, even if we talk about the quota, so quota policies limit total calls per application over time. So in this case, we are safeguarding the backend service, and also the spike arrest policies protect against sudden burst of traffic. Any, let's say, any malfunctioning mobile app sending a huge amount of bulk amount of requests. So in this case, our backend system doesn't get overwhelmed because of these policy features, which act as a shield and filter out from the IPG layer itself.
Okay, great. I see that the error handling for non-HTTP protocols like BAPI or RFC, it can be it can be tricky. So how does APG specifically handle protocol translation failures or
Okay.
connection issues when dealing with the SAP connector?
Yes, as you rightly said, this is indeed, a good scenario, and this definitely pops up in any business use cases. But Apigee has this covered. Apigee uses sophisticated fault rules and policies to capture non-standard errors when the connector fails. So Apigee captures this exception. So instead of returning a cryptic SAP error code which is not understood from the client, what Apigee does is it uses a raise fault or assign message policy, which is inbuilt in Apigee, to translate these into a standardized HTTP, let's say 400 series error or any 500 series error, with a clean and actionable JSON body. So this helps, in maintaining a consistent developer experience. And in this way, error handling it is pretty much optimized and can be dealt conveniently on the Apigee layer.
Okay, so now let's move on with the discussion on security. Uh, uh, can you explain the concept of seamless tokenization? To be more precise, if I ask, well, how does APG handle the flow of converting a client's modern token, such as OAuth or JWT, into the required SAP security credentials?
Yes. Okay. So seamless tokenization is a huge benefit now. So it means the consumer applications only need to provide a modern token, as you spoke about, like the OAuth or the JOT token. What Apigee securely does is it validates the token. On Apigee we have different actions: a creation of token creation and token validation. So in this case, it validates it. So once it is validated, Apigee policies will convert or map that token's identity to specific any security credentials that the SAP requires, which might be a basic auth or a client certificate, or even a SAP OAuth token. So this conversion happens transparently on the APG layer. So it completely shields the SAP system and its raw credentials from the external applications as well. So the external application do not come to know what exactly is being done behind the screen. So in this way, the tokenization is pretty seamless, and it is completely abstracted from the user.
Okay, so to visualize this, uh, can you briefly walk us through the two distinct practical flows?
Okay.
One for a client calling an OData endpoint, and one for a client calling a BAPI or RFC endpoint through the APG connector?
Okay. Since we have already spoken about OData being a little modern and RESTful API, whereas the BAPI depends on the RFC protocol. So irrespective of OData or RFC, Apigee acts as front end for both of the systems. So if you talk about a flow, let's say we are talking about the first flow wherein OData is concerned. So the client token is validated by Apigee, as we spoke about by multiple we have multiple policies like verify jot or v2 policy. So with this the client token is validated at Apigee, and for the SAP gateway that supports OAuth, Apigee can simply then exchange or forward an OAuth token to the SAP. Now coming to the second, I mean the one which you talk about, the BAPI or the business API or the RFC endpoint. So for that, even the same, I mean the client token is validated by Apigee. Once Apigee validates that, then the calls are dedicated to that connector or adapter over the HTTPS using a strong any service credentials. So once that is done, the connector performs the actual SAP login and executes the BAPI, ensuring Apigee never needs to know what exactly is the RFC details. It simply connects from the platform.
So, based on the information you provided, in summary, APG enables decoupling. What
Yep,
is the
that's right.
single biggest advantage of an organization uh, gains in terms of agility and future proofing when facing huge projects like an ECC to SAP for HANA migration?
Okay, so when you talk about the SAP ECC or the SAP for HANA ERP central component, the biggest advantage, I mean, this is the biggest advantage that it is future proofing through abstraction. It is completely encapsulated and not visible to any external client what exactly is behind the screen. So by placing Apigee in front of any BAPI or OData, what we do, you standardize all the external access to your SAP data. If you migrate from ECT to SAP for HANA as well, the external API endpoint remains still unchanged for the consuming applications. So we simply update the configuration within Apigee to point to the new backend service. So this allows the business to move forward even without any hiccup. I mean, even they do not get to know any downtime as well. Just what we need to do is just to update the backend.
Okay, so we'll discuss the first use case,
Yeah.
and the name of the use case is high volume IoT. So let's explore a high volume scenario. Uh, how does APG facilitate the integration of a SAP system with a massive high volume source like an IoT network or a factory floor?
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, actually, this is a kind of a perfect. This is completely befitting and a perfect fit. Since you talked about a very high volume source, so imagine a fleet of IoT devices sending maintenance logs to SAP Service Management, continuous, very bulk amount of logs. So what the BAPI or the OData service can't handle. I mean, to be pretty honest, if without the APG layer, if everything is faced directly to the SAP systems, the BAPI or the OData services can't handle millions of requests per minute concurrently. So what Apigee does is sits in front of these, and as we spoke about initially, the different features like the spike arrest or the rate limiting. So these are used to buffer the incoming bursty traffic. So it can also transform the lightweight IoT JSON data to complex BAPI, XML or STROP structure for the synchronous updates, or hand it off to an asynchronous queue as per the requirement or as per the liking for SAP to consume at a controlled state. So in this way, whatever be the incoming traffic, it is pretty much sent in a very controlled and phased manner to the backend. So this safeguards the backend systems and also handles the incoming volume of the traffic.
Perfect. Perfectly said, Subhasis. Since we have discussed the use case one, I have another use case in mind, which is a partner monetization.
Okay.
Finally, for organizations looking to externalize their data to partners or third parties, uh, how does APG facilitate monetization and managing the partner ecosystem around their SAP assets?
Okay, yeah, as rightly said, I mean, apart from these abstraction, security, and all, Apigee also helps in the monetization of those APIs when exposed to internet. So Apigee has something called its developer portal, and that plays a key role here. What we can do, we can wrap the SAP inventory or let's say the pricing data into an API product. And once the product is published, the portal allows partners to self-register, obtain API keys, and access documentation. So Apigee's monetization features allows to apply different rate plans as per different rate plans, different subscription plans as per the customers' requirements and for the customers' usage. Done while ensuring the secure consumption of the core tab data is completely intact. So yes, monetization is definitely possible with different rate plans. What we need to do is just use that Apigee's developer portal here in that case.
Thank you so much, Subhasis. This was it for the post podcast. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your insights on SAP and APG and everything which we have discussed. So, to our audience, this was all from this Royal Cyber podcast. Stay tuned, and we'll see you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Have a good day too.